was walking in Shabbos in the street in the afternoon. I walked past Satmar 26, and a man comes up to me. He definitely most probably didn't see it on the internet. He must have seen it on WhatsApp, and he asked me what my Rabbi Dunna said to my wife. So I told him that she said he didn't remember, but that point he wanted to know. It was a very good point. He said to her, if you want to change him, don't marry him. But if you want to learn to live together, that's the most important point. You can marry him. And he said, yes, that was the end. I was very surprised to see so many people who were interested in what I said and the contradictions of my opinions of life. I was very, very interested in it. And the response has been tremendous. I mean, not everything I can see, because some people download from somebody else, and somebody else, then somebody else. So these things we can't get here in the studio recordings of. But it's very important to show our opinion on certain things. For instance, and I do what I want. When it was a very heavy snow, I walked in the street, on the street itself, because the pavement was so icy you could break your neck. Until we have to thank the Chaverim, who did a good job, went to the council, took sand or salt and sand, and they took their machinery and they took it in all the Jewish streets. They were spreading sand. A person told me, who lives in a different district, that they couldn't go out for a week because the whole pavement was solid everywhere in Walthamstow. Solid, they couldn't go out. And we have to thank God, Baruch Hashem, Chaverim do a good job, and they spread the sand all over the place. And by Friday night, the stuff and the ice had started getting melted and breaking up, because sand breaks up the ice. So it's a very important thing to share our points and opinions, how we think. The same thing is, the government doesn't care about us. They make an advert. Now they've made this called these motorways where you can open up. They close the hard shoulder, and they said to you, and they sing an Igna, that's a tune, turn left, turn left. What do you mean turn left? Where are you going to? You're broken down. You can't turn left. Indicate you're learning left. You haven't got where to go. If the left-hand shoulder, the left-hand side of you is a motorway, that's cars going in the motorway. It's not the hard shoulder. So how can they tell you to turn left? They're daft. It just shows you how they don't care. They don't care at all about anything unless people complain and show them that they're making adverts of rubbish. I wanted to go to another point. Satmar are very much against the state of Israel because they fight against the anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism, I'm not going into this now, all this business where who's right or who's wrong. They're not right. The original Zionim were very much against the religion. If religion wasn't the cause of anti-Semitism in Germany and wasn't the cause of everything else, it's not because we dress to behave like Goyim. The more we behave like Goyim, the more the Goyim respect us. On the contrary, the more we behave like Yidden, the Goyim no, we believe in what we think, and we couldn't care less. We don't care about. I don't give greetings. If somebody says to me, "Happy Christmas," I say no. It's not, I don't believe in Christmas. He was a Jewish boy, and he caused a lot of death. Christianity caused a lot of death by people, Jewish people and not Jewish people. Thousands, millions got killed. Millions. Actually, and in the beginning he wanted the Jewish people to change, but it didn't change. But we have to remember everything. We are not Goyim. We don't have to run after everything. When the Goyim make holidays, we don't have to make holidays. When the Goyim make Christmas and everything else, children think, oh, I've got time now, I can take my children out of school, not out of school, and go away for a few days. We don't have to do everything what the Goyim do. Ani goy. We make a bruch every day. We don't want to be a goy. We want to be a yid and live with Jewish philosophy. That's our aim of life. I talked to my Bitterman about this, and he said, Gabi ist immer zu Menschen. Gabi, die kannst immer geben auf Englisch in Klur. Es ist nicht gefährlich, immer zu geben Klur. Wir will nicht sagen, goy. We don't want to be a goy. This is something they have to understand. This young generation who think they have to have a big car, and then you find out a car. He's got a big car, but he hasn't even paid for it. He's leased it. It's all leased. It's all bluff. It's all lies. I'm not saying a person, because he has money, doesn't need to show off. That was we were taught in our younger years. We're taught we don't have to show off with what you've got. Darfst du getter, darfst es nehmen, and be zufrieden that you've got it. Very important. But because I want to show you how much the government, this is the last point I'm now talking about, why the government, how bad it was. There was a program on television, it was on the news, there was a professor from France who came, and he was on French television, and he was a frommer. I don't know what subject he was, and he wore a couple. So one of the professors in the group, which are talking about this diseases, he says, why are you wearing your kippah? What has your Jewishness got to do with a disease? He says, nothing. I'm Jewish. That's why I wear kippah. So it shows how even he's got courage, he's a guy, to go and talk to a Yid, a professor who's a knowledgeable person, and say, why are you wearing your kappel? So this professor said to him back, why does the Pope wear a kappel? And he knocked him for a six in the middle of the program. And the same is here in other things as well. We have anti-Semitism causing the government, causes our education we have problems with education because, you know why? Because there are lots of children who weren't taken to school. You're crying to the Rebbeinu, they should let us have our education, a Yiddish education. I know it's very important, but why are you crying? Why aren't you crying why God takes in the crying from the parents who are not accepted in the schools? What about them? We don't think about them. I think instead of making a base Yom Tefillah, we should make a Yom Tefillah for the children who are not accepted in the schools. We've got to have teachers, educators who don't accept children for their own benefit into the school. Even they'll say it's not for their own benefit, but not to accept children shouldn't have where to go is a disgusting thing. There's one more point about the Nazis I have to remind you. There was a case in Germany, an old lady, very mature old lady, she was a secretary, and she was responsible for 10,500 deaths. And she admitted she's very old. Do you know what she got in Germany? Do you know what sentence she got? There's a sentence, it's a disgrace. And she got a suspended sentence for 2 years. She has to stay in her house. She stay at home, or suspended sentences is good. Isn't that a disgusting thing? That shows how they value. And this is what the Tzionim have taught us. Even though Satmar won't like what I'm saying, the Tzionim have taught us, never again, I like Benny used to say. I once heard begging shout, never again, never again. And this is just it, that is never again, because whether it's a state of Israel, whether it's a Zionist, 2,000, you know, I was in Auschwitz to have a look at it. It's terrible to go there, terrible. And 2,000 people could go into the gas chambers with 20 soldiers. How could it be? Because they degraded the Yid. They first made the Yid into nothing. He's nothing, and he felt nothing. Made him clean the streets. Then they took off all his clothes, they cut off all his hair. And Reb Shulam Lezer, when they went into Auschwitz, Reb Shulam Lezer, that was brought them from Canada. That was where the clothes were. A Taleskuten and a couple. He sucht ihm sehr mit dem Bleiben leben, ja? And so Shulam Lezer, interessant zu sehen, he said, I'm größter Mensch gewesen, and he said, somebody brought him and this person stayed alive, that I'm not dying a schmatter. Ich bin nicht geschmatter, ich bin ein Yid. And the first ingredient was, when he said, we are Yid, you showed up, I can go around the street with pious and show that I'm a Yid. But to have this yellow star, you soll mich degradieren als Yid, als ein Yid nicht geht. Ein Yid ist eine gute Sache. Ein Yid sagt, kommen wir zusammen. A viele die Freiheit sehen ist. Comes to Yom Kippur around, 99% of the country in Israel didn't drive Yom Kippur, which years ago wasn't. Years ago this wasn't in Israel. You know why? Because they wanted to say all the fault of the anti-Semitism is on the Frum Jews because they behave different. No, it's because the Rebbe made that Yankov should hate Yankov, and that's why there's anti-Semitism. And this will always be till the end, because the only way we will stay Yankov, the only way we'll stay Yisrael, Yid, the only way is by Esav knocking us. Why do we need that? We can be Yidden without Esav knocking us.